All right, guys, how are you doing? Okay, so we're doing the webinar for Lighthouse Realty, and today we're going to be concentrating on how do you sit there with a client, okay? And you're sitting here with a client, let me just say, and they're being unrealistic. So what they're asking for isn't quite real. Um, when they come up to you and they say, hey, you know what, I really want a property that's 400,000. I have $7,000 I've saved up for the purchase, and I know there's a lot of programs out there that can help me. And how do I do it? And by the way, when you actually talk to them, you get from them that the payment that they want is like $1,800. What do we do? How do we fix that? How do we accommodate that? How do we bring them back to reality? So I have a super easy way that I do this, and it really is based upon the 3 legs right there. And it's so smooth, it's so easy that when you actually talk to the client, they convince themselves and you don't do anything. And then all you do is just basically walk in and say, okay, what are we doing? Are we doing this, this, or this? And it just moves forward. Super smooth. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Sounds good?
Sounds good.
Okay. So first 2 questions I ask the client is, so you've decided to buy now. Can you tell me what's the reason you're buying now? And you really want to know what is the reason they're buying now, because they could have bought last year. They could have bought 6 months ago. But for some reason, there's something inside them that wants it now. And maybe they've been wanting it for a year or 2 years, whatever, but for some reason they haven't. And something's shifted, something's changed that now is the time to buy. So you want to know what that now is. Because that now is the motivator, it's the driver, it's whatever has triggered their subconscious or unconscious to move forward. Okay, so what is the now? So, Mr. Buyer, so if I say, hey, you know what has triggered you to buy now? What's changed in your life? Oh, well, I've always wanted to buy. But what's changed in your life that has allowed you to see that now is the time to buy? What has changed in your life that has shown you that now is the time to buy? Are you saying to me that now isn't the time? No, I think it totally is. But why do you know now that now is the time? Okay? What is the reason? And you get that reason. Why? So why is it time to buy? Because you need that internal motivator, because everybody has a why, and everybody's why is different. So my why might be yellow, yours is pink, so-and-so's is red or blue or green. So if I'm trying to sell you my why and it's totally different than yours, guess what? It doesn't work. It doesn't sell, and it's not going to move you forward. So why and now? And you put it in there, why? Because what are you doing unconsciously or on an unconscious level is you're allowing them to understand that they've made the decision that now is the time to buy and that you are here to help them with that. So that's number 1. Number 2 is you go ahead and ask them, what payment are you comfortable with? Now, I'm not going to go into terms of the payment of what it's comprised of, that they got taxes, insurance, that they have in mind, none of that. Because as a realtor, your concern is, bottom line, how much are you willing to pay? How much are you willing to come out of pocket with every month? So what is that payment? What does it look like? You don't even need to know where they determined that payment, how it came about. You just need to know what it is. So now tell me, what is the payment that you've decided that you can afford for that house? I'd like to know the maximum payment. Now I'm going to tell you, well, I don't want the maximum.
$1,700.
They might tell you, I don't want the maximum payment. Well, I'm afraid. Well, I want the lowest one possible. Okay, cool. So it's like 600, 700. No, and be stupid, be dumb, so that they can realize that they're being kind of unreasonable as well. So you sit there and you say, so what is the highest payment that you've realized that your family can go to make this purchase a reality? Okay, so that's why you need to get the why, because if you don't have the why behind it, then you're not able to move them. Because if they say something like, for example, why? Because my dad passed away and he always wanted to buy a house and it never happened. And now I realize that if I don't do something, it's never going to happen. I'm never going to have a house for my family, for example. So let's say they say this, and then they tell you, well, I want a payment. And you say, well, I don't know the lowest payment. Say, okay, remember, I'm here to help you and to guide you. But the only way I can do that is by asking you certain questions, because I want to provide you excellent customer service and be able to guide you. But I can only do that if you allow me to. I want you to be able to realize that dream of having that home for your family. I know how much it hurt you that you saw that your dad died and he didn't realize that dream and he wanted that for you. I want to help you with that dream. What is the maximum payment your family can afford so we can make this dream a reality? If I don't have that why, I don't have nothing to hold on to. I don't have anywhere to pull. That's your tether. So you need to make sure you tether. It's like somebody's going to climb a mountain If you're going to climb a mountain and you're going to grab a rope and you just tie it around you, when you're halfway up and you slip, what happens? If it's not tied to anything, goodbye. You want to make sure you're tethered, and your why is tethered to that person. And if there's two people that are in there, so if you got the husband and the wife, each one has their own why. You want to make sure both of them, what is your why? Or what is your why? You ask both of them for their why. Why? Because it's different. Because they process different. Because they think different. So ask both whys. Okay, so then they're going to give you the payment, whatever that might be. Let's say it's an $1,800 payment, $1,700 payment, $1,200 payment. I don't know. So I'm going to just give you the scenario for the sake of argument of somebody that I had yesterday. Day before yesterday. And she said, I want a $1,400 payment. I said 14, that's the tippy top, nothing more. She said, well, maybe like 1420, 1430. Okay, very good. And I asked her, and she was a first-time buyer. And she was tired, and she was a first-time buyer, and she said, okay, it's $1,400. And I said, okay, perfect. I said, how much money do you actually have for the purchase? Well, she was actually somebody that was fear-based. A fear-based person means that they are afraid to make a commitment because they're afraid of not being able to follow through. So she actually came to us 6 months ago, then ghosted us. Why did she ghost us? Because she only had $7,000, which for a first-time buyer is decent. But she ghosted us because she had $7,000. And she said, that's not quite enough. And she sat there, went back, and I found this out because I asked her, I said, you know what happened last time? Why did you disappear? I said, well, I had $7,000. And what we did is we moved in with our parents, and we paid $1,600 a month into a savings account. We now have $12,000. But for 6 months, they paid $1,600 into that account. And with moving costs, whatever, end of the day, they have $12,000 now. And she said, now I saw $1,600. Now I know I can afford that. Now, here's where we came in. And I said, okay, I know you're afraid of a commitment, right? And she said, yes, exactly. I'm afraid. And I said, great. But do you realize that you wouldn't even be here, that you're so responsible that you wouldn't even be here unless you knew that you could do this? Just that sentence alone is huge because they need to make the connection. Sometimes you have a client that says, I want red. And they look at the thing with red, but they don't know what they're looking at. So you need to clarify. Hey, Mr. Client, I just want you to know you're looking at red right now. Oh, I am? You said you wanted red, correct? Yes, I said I wanted red. So you told me that if I had red in front of you, you would want that, right? Correct. So guess what? Here's red. Therefore, I want that. Yes. Because many times you have a client that says, I want red, and here you have red, but because you didn't ask the right questions, they can't make that connection, and then they walk away, and you say, but this is what you wanted. This is what we've been working for, yet it doesn't come together. Okay, so sales tip here is you need to clarify, make sure you ask the questions, and you let them see what they're looking at. You are seeing this right now, and this is what you said you want. So she said $1,400. I said, how much money do you have for the purchase? She said $12,000. I said, okay, perfect. So you have $12,000 for the purchase. And I said, now tell me, you have she had told me she had a son, and she wanted to do this for her son, and her parents had bought when they were 40. And she didn't want to wait until she was 40 and old. Oh my goodness. 40 and old to purchase that she wanted to buy while she was young. And give her son a house with his own room. I said, okay, perfect. I said, that's beautiful. Let me help you with that dream. And one of the questions you want to ask, and I said, hey, I want to provide excellent customer service. So I want you to be 200% satisfied with our service. And because I don't know what excellent customer service is to you, I want to ask you, how will you know that I have provided excellent customer service to you? Well, I'm just going to feel good and at peace. Okay, so if you feel good and at peace, that means I'm doing what I'm supposed to for you, and I'm giving you excellent customer service. Is that right? Yes. So what is excellent customer service? Just be transparent and communicate with me. You got it. So we're going through this, and I write that down. So she wants to, excellent customer service, right? She's going to be peaceful if she's getting it. And she wants transparency and communication. All right. And I tell them I'm going to write these notes down because I want to make sure that I do exactly what you're asking me to do, and I guide you. So I'm going to write notes to make sure that I'm delivering on the commitment to you. Okay? Of course. Excellent. So we got $1,400 payment, $12,000 that you have. Now tell me, what kind of house does this look like? Oh, I've lived in a couple areas. I know I'm not going to find the house of my dreams. I said, I love that you already know that this is going to be your starter home. Yes. Okay. How much money? Or there's a house that your family needs. How much money does that cost? Because I know you haven't gone out there with a realtor. Maybe you have. And what are the values you're looking at on these online programs? Because everybody's looking at Redfin, at Zillow, at Realtor.com. There's Homes.com. So many programs. She said, well, I've been able to find quite a few in the 245 to 250 range. Excellent. So this is where having an excellent lender comes into place too, because then your lender sits down with your client, right?
That payment is not realistic for that price.
And exactly right. So we have somebody here, she's telling me that payment is not realistic for that price, and it's not. And the client was actually qualified for $300,000 in this scenario. The $300,000 payment was closer to a $2,000 payment.
Mm-hmm.
And with down payment assistance, the payment actually went over the $2,200. Now, she didn't need a lot of money with down payment assistance, but she's got $12,000. And the reason she saved so much money is because she didn't want to feel insecure or worried or nervous. So here is where all realtors meet the wall. I got a client that's being unrealistic. They want a house for $250,000. They want a $1,400 payment. Yeah, she's got $12,000, but realistically, on the $250,000 house, she needs $18,400 with closing costs. What do I do? So here's what you do. So of course, you have your lender that you work with, and brings out the estimates. Says, okay, according to what the lender gave us, here's an estimate with the $1,400 payment. So there's estimate number one. And it's got $1,400. We got estimate number two. It's got $245. Estimate number three, $250. And estimate number four, $12,000. So it's got down payment. So basically, present her with four estimates. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. The first one says, hey, here's your estimate with $1,400 payments. 2, here's your estimate on a $245,000 house. 3, here's your estimate on a $250,000 house. And 4, here's your estimate with $12,000 or less. Because here on $250,000, we need $18,000. On $245,000, we needed like $17,000. On the $1,400 house, it was a $210,000 purchase price. And on here, we can go to $250,000 with down payment assistance, but the payment was $1,800, $1,880. So none of these hit her, what she was looking for, right? So here, guys, here is the key. Listen to this. This is the key. And honestly, here's my secret of 20 years of doing what I do and giving service. And it's super easy. I gave her the four estimates of 4 sheets, and I put them in front of her. And I said, buyer, her name's Linda. Linda, here are the 4 estimates. In the first one, it's got the $1,400 payment you want. Okay, where you know that you can afford that and where you feel most comfortable. The second one is for $245,000, and the third one is for $245,000 or $250,000, where you know you found properties for your family that you said that these would be properties that you could see yourself living in, that are places where you can start your dream. And the fifth is an estimate that requires $12,000 or less. The other 3 estimates do not require down payment. Do not require as much, but you need to ask either the seller to help you with closing costs. We have to do a credit on the rate, which brings the payment even higher. So the payment on $245,000 and on $250,000 is going to be $1,600 to $1,700. Now I ask you, what do you think your family would benefit from most? The house that's $210,000 with the $1,400 payment, or the house that's got a $1,600 or $1,700 payment that's within the range of making it happen for your family, or you coming in with only $6,000 to $7,000 with the program on down payment assistance, but $1,880 payment, and that's it. I didn't do anything, no sales, no nothing, and then I just sit back and I wait. And I said, which one? Well, definitely not $1,800. Okay, so that's option number 4 because you don't want that. Mm-hmm. I talked to my husband. He really doesn't want to budget from $1,400. Okay, so is that your option number 1? Yes. So she writes option number 1 on that sheet, and she tells me, I'm telling her, what will this allow? This will allow me to be in a house and feel secure with my family, whatever it is that payment allows or does for her. Mm-hmm. I said, what's option number 2? Well, option number 2 is going to be $245,000. So you're telling me that if you can't find a house for $210,000 that fits the needs of your family, then we're going to option number 2, right? Because yeah. Oh, you see that? Mm-hmm. I'm not doing anything but putting your thoughts in order. Mm-hmm. So if number one doesn't happen, we're going to option number two, right? Yeah, which is a house that you already saw or that you've seen that makes sense for your family. Yes. Okay, perfect. So put option number two. And what's option number two? Well, then we go to 250. Okay, gotcha. So she wrote down what her options were and where she was at. That's it. Did I do any convincing, any strong arming, anything? No, except give her guidance. And then after asking her all that stuff, I said, you've gotten all these options now. You know what's going on. You've been able to see all the numbers. How do you feel? You know what? I feel like I know a lot more. I said, do you feel at peace? I do. So then you know you've gotten excellent customer service. Is that right? Yeah. So I've delivered on my promise for excellent customer service so far. Yeah, you have. Excellent. Why? Because I reaffirmed the feelings of, hey, you said if I did this, and I did this. So are you feeling this? Yes. So then I'm doing my job for you. Yes. Why? Because it's that whole reaffirmation that I'm doing what I said I was going to do for you. And I'm giving you what I said I was going to do. And then she said, I said, what is the number one thing you want from me? And she said, guidance. Okay. Beginning. What's your why? What did you come from me? What do you want from me? Transparency, communication. So what's the number one thing you want from me? Guidance. I said, thus far, do you feel that I've given you guidance? Yes. Thank you. Great. If this lead came from a cousin, an uncle, a CPA, whatever, I asked her at the very end, can you do me a huge favor? She said, what? I said, can you call that person up and just let them know that I'm giving you excellent customer service so far? And is it me saying that I've given her excellent customer service? No, she's the one that said it, because she said that when she felt whatever, in this case, peace, she would know she got excellent customer service. Who relayed the peace to excellent customer service? It locked. I let her see that the peace meant this, because she said that that's what it meant back here. But if I didn't connect it for her, she wouldn't know. If I didn't connect the 14, the 16, the 245, all that, it's just numbers. But when I present it as 4 different options, as 1, 2, 3, and 4, not as this, and this, you can have it all, but you can have this, or this, or this, or this. Then it happens. So then we look at properties, and when we look at properties, they're all crashed up, ugly properties that just can't happen. So then she says, you know what, we looked at them. Unfortunately, my option, number 1, the 210 properties aren't the properties I want. I said, that's okay. Then that means we move on to option 2. Yeah, okay. That's simple. But it's a matter of pre-framing their mindset so that they know that if A, then B, if B, then C, if C, then D. And then you make the connection, A, then B, B, then C, C, then D. Hey, if A comes up, and we see D, then we know B and C are in there, and you make that connection. Hey, since we have D here and we have A, just to let you know, B and C are there, because if not, D wouldn't be there. And make that connection in their head, because many times buyers can't do that on their own. So go out there, make sure you're finding the why, what you're there for, what they require of you. Find out payment, find out what the property looks like. And when I tell them, what does the property look like? What are the demographics? They already know the 240, 245 property, what it looks like in terms of 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, whatever, because they've been looking. You can ask them, what does that property look like? And whenever we look at the estimates, the key question is, what adjustments need to be made, if any, to make this dream a reality for your family? I need to go up on my payment. I need to go down on my purchase price. I need to move out of the area. Whatever that realization is, they give it to you. But it's the concession that you need to move them towards your dream. All right, so hope this helped. Give me a call if you have any questions. So this is, again, a video on how to move your buyers off the fence if they have unrealistic expectations of what they want. A to B, B to C, C to D. Again, pre-framing, asking the questions, letting them see what's in front of them, and knowing that you're there to provide them service, provide them guidance, and letting them know that that's what you're doing every step of the way. All right, thanks, guys. Let me go ahead and